Duke Wisner's family of 50 laws of power inspired version. Law 1. Never outshine the one above you in life, in business, in any environment where growth matters. There's one truth you must understand early. Power is always present, even when it's invisible. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they don't understand the game they're playing. They walk into rooms trying to prove they are the smartest, the fastest, the most capable, and without realizing it, they are building their own downfall. Because when you make someone in a position of power feel small, you are not earning respect, you are triggering their ego. And ego, when threatened, doesn't negotiate. It eliminates. The real strategist, the one who wins long-term, doesn't feel the need to show everything at once. They observe. They move with intention. They understand timing. They know when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to let others shine while they build quietly in the background. This is not weakness. This is control. Because while others chase attention, you are building positioning. While others seek validation, you are gaining influence. Understand this clearly. It's not about being the brightest person in the room. It's about being the smartest in how you play the room. Real power is silent. It doesn't beg to be seen. It doesn't need approval. It moves strategically, patiently, and when the moment comes, it dominates. Advice tip: Duke Wisner's family: control your ego before it controls your future. Don't rush to prove your value, build it quietly. Let people underestimate you, that's your advantage. Study the environment. Respect the hierarchy. Move with intelligence. Because in the long run, the one who lasts is the one who understands power. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use an episode of the biggest mistakes people make on the road to success is confusing loyalty with comfort. Friends make you feel safe. They support you, they agree with you, they celebrate you. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear: comfort can make you weak. Because friends sometimes move with emotions. They forgive your mistakes, they overlook your flaws, they don't always push you to evolve. And growth doesn't live in comfort. Now let's talk about enemies. An enemy watches you differently. They study you. They analyze your moves. They look for your weaknesses, not to help you, but to expose you. And if you're smart, that's exactly why they become valuable. Because an enemy forces you to sharpen yourself. They don't let you relax. They don't let you become average. They make you aware, focused, disciplined. Sometimes the person who challenges you the most is the one who pushes you to your highest level. This doesn't mean you should trust your enemies blindly, but it means you should understand them. Use their energy. Use their pressure. Use their presence as fuel. Because while friends might protect your feelings, your enemies will reveal your reality. And reality is where real growth begins. Advice tip: Duke Wisner's family: don't build your life only around people who agree with you. Value those who challenge you, who make you think, who force you to grow. Turn pressure into power. Turn criticism into clarity. Because at the highest level, your biggest enemy can become your greatest teacher.
Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Not every move needs to be announced. Not every goal needs to be shared. In a world where everyone is posting, talking, explaining, the real winners move differently. They move in silence. Because the moment you reveal your full plan, you lose your advantage. People will doubt you. Some will try to copy you. Others will try to block you. And many will project their own fears onto your vision. That's why powerful individuals don't talk too much about what they're building. They let results speak. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates control. And control creates power. When people don't fully understand your next move, they can't interfere with it. They can't predict you. They can't stop you. Remember this: noise is for attention. Silence is for execution. The strongest moves are not the loudest ones, they're the ones nobody sees coming. Stay focused, stay disciplined, stay private. Because when the time comes, you won't need to explain anything. Your results will do it for you. Advice: tip: Duke Wisner's family: stop announcing everything you're about to do. Protect your vision like it's your most valuable asset. Move in silence, build in private, execute with precision. Because when success arrives, you won't need validation-only results. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Words are powerful, but too many words can become your weakness. Most people talk too much. They explain too much. They reveal too much, and without realizing it, they lose control of the situation. Because the more you speak, the more predictable you become. The more information you give, the more power you lose. Powerful people understand something different. Silence speaks louder than words. When you say less, people listen more. When you speak with intention, your words carry weight. Mystery creates respect. Control creates presence. Think about it. The person who talks the most in the room is rarely the one in control, but the one who observes, listens, and speaks only when necessary. That's the one people watch. That's the one people respect. Because they don't waste energy, they direct it. Every word you say should have purpose. Every sentence should add value. Otherwise, silence is stronger. ADVIC a tip duquesness famia, learn to control your words. Don't speak just to be heard, speak to make impact. Pause, observe, think before you respond. Because in a world full of noise, the one who masters silence controls the game.
Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard ID with your life, or your reputation is your invisible currency. Before people hear you, before they meet you, before they decide to trust you, they already have an idea of who you are. And that idea can open doors or close them forever. In today's world, your name carries weight. Your actions echo longer than your words. One mistake, one wrong move, one moment without control can damage something that took years to build. That's why powerful individuals don't just work on success, they work on perception. They understand that how people see you can be just as important as what you actually do. This doesn't mean being fake, it means being intentional. Protect your image, protect your standards, protect your consistency, because reputation is built slowly but destroyed instantly. And once it's broken, it's never the same. People might forgive, but they never forget. So move carefully, move strategically. Let your actions speak with discipline. Let your presence reflect strength, because in the long game, your reputation will walk into rooms before you ever do. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: treat your name like a brand. Every action you take either builds it or breaks it. Stay consistent, stay disciplined, and protect your standards at all costs, because in life, your reputation will decide how far you go. Law 6. Court attention at all cost, but control at attention is power. If nobody sees you, nobody remembers you. And if nobody remembers you, you don't exist in the game. But here's the difference most people don't understand. There is a difference between seeking attention and controlling attention. Weak individuals chase attention. They do anything to be seen, even if it costs their respect. Strong individuals attract attention strategically. They create value. They create impact. They create presence. They don't beg to be noticed, they become impossible to ignore. But attention is dangerous if you don't control it. Too much exposure without purpose can turn into pressure. Too much visibility without discipline can turn into mistakes. That's why the real players know when to step forward and when to step back. They use attention as a tool, not as a need. Because when you control attention, you control perception. And when you control perception, you control influence. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: don't chase attention, earn it. Create value that makes people stop and watch. Be visible, but be strategic. Because real power is not being seen everywhere, it's being remembered where it matters. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Time is your most valuable asset. And the truth is, you cannot do everything alone. The most successful people in the world don't work harder, they work smarter. They understand leverage. They build systems, they build teams, they build networks. Because when you try to do everything yourself, you limit your growth. But when you learn how to delegate, you multiply your results. This is not about exploiting people, this is about understanding value. People bring skills, people bring knowledge, people bring perspectives you don't have. And when you align those strengths, you create something bigger than yourself. The key is leadership. You must guide the vision. You must control the direction. You must ensure the outcome. Because at the end of the day, the world remembers the result, not the process. And the one who leads the vision is the one who owns the victory. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: stop trying to do everything alone. Learn to build, delegate, and lead. Surround yourself with people who elevate your level. Because success is not about doing more, it's about multiplying your impact. Law 8, make others come to you. USA bait, if necessary, chasing everything will exhaust you. Chasing opportunities, chasing people, chasing validation, it puts you in a position of weakness. Because when you chase, you give away control. Powerful individuals don't chase, they attract. They position themselves in a way that others come to them. How? Through value, through presence, through strategy. They create something that people want. They build something that people need. And when you become valuable, people naturally move towards you. Sometimes you don't need to push harder. You need to position better. Set the bait, create the opportunity, make the move attractive. Because when others come to you, you control the interaction. You control the terms. You control the outcome. Advice tip: Duke was in his family. Stop chasing, start attracting. Build value that pulls people towards you. Position yourself where opportunities find you. Because in the game of power, the one who attracts, controls. Law 9, win through your actions. Never through argumentating feels like winning. But in reality, it rarely changes anything. You can prove your point, you can win the conversation, and still lose the respect. Because people don't like to feel wrong. They don't like to feel defeated. And when you argue, you activate resistance. That's why powerful individuals don't waste energy trying to convince everyone. They let their actions speak. Results don't argue. Success doesn't debate. Execution doesn't need validation. When you show results, people believe. When you demonstrate value, people follow. Words can be questioned. Actions cannot. So instead of talking more, do more. Instead of proving, show. Because in the end, the strongest argument is your success. Advice tip: Duke was in his family. Don't waste time arguing, focus on executing. Let your results silence the doubt. Show your value through action, not words. Because at the highest level, success is the only proof that matters. Law 10, infection: avoid the unhappy and unlucky energy is contagious. Whether you realize it or not, the people around you are shaping your mindset, your habits, your future. There are individuals who walk into a room and bring negativity with them. They complain, they blame, they see problems in every opportunity. And if you stay around them long enough, you start to think like them. This is how ambition dies. Not in one moment, but slowly through influence. Because negativity doesn't announce itself as danger, it disguises itself as normal. But here's the truth: you cannot build a powerful life with a weak environment. Successful individuals protect their energy. They are selective with who they spend time with. They are intentional about their circle. Because they understand something most people ignore, your environment will either elevate you or limit you. There is no neutral. This doesn't mean you hate people. It means you choose growth. You respect everyone, but you don't give everyone access. Because your future is too valuable to be influenced by the wrong energy. Advice tip: Duke was in his family. Audit your circle. If the people around you are not growing, not improving, not pushing you, you need to create distance. Protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Because in the long run, your environment becomes your destiny. Law 11, learn to keep people dependent on you. Influence is not just about being liked, it's about being needed. The more people depend on your value, the more secure your position becomes. Think about it. If your presence makes no difference, you are replaceable. But if your knowledge, your skills, your mindset become essential, you become powerful. This is why successful individuals don't just work hard, they build unique value. They develop skills others don't have. They solve problems others can't solve. They become the person people go to, not because they ask for attention, but because they deliver results. Dependency is not about control, it's about relevance. If you are relevant, you cannot be ignored. If you are valuable, you cannot be replaced easily. So instead of trying to impress everyone, focus on becoming essential. Because when people need you, your position is protected. Advice tip: Duke was in his family. Build skills that make you irreplaceable. Don't chase validation, create value. Become the solution people rely on. Because in the game of success, those who are needed are those who rise.
Law 12, USE selective honesty and generosity to disarm. In a world full of strategy, authentic moments become powerful. Sometimes one act of honesty, one moment of generosity, can open doors that force never could. People expect manipulation. They expect hidden intentions. So when you show something real, you disarm them. You lower their defenses. And in that moment, you create connection. But here's the key. It must be intentional. Not fake, not forced, strategic, but genuine. Because people can feel authenticity when you give without expecting. When you speak truth without fear, you build trust. And trust is one of the strongest forms of power. But remember, not everyone deserves your openness. Be selective. Be smart. Because honesty is powerful. But in the wrong place, it can be used against you. Advice: tip duquousness famia. Use honesty as a strength, not as a weakness. Be generous but not naive. Build trust with intention. Because real influence is not forced, it is earned through connection. Law 13, WHEN asking for help, appeal to self-interest. People don't move because of your needs. They move because of their own. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, but one of the most powerful to understand. If you want support, if you want opportunities, if you want collaboration, you must speak the language of value. Don't focus on what you need. Focus on what they gain, because when people see benefit, they act. This is not manipulation. This is awareness. Successful individuals understand psychology. They know how to position ideas in a way that creates interest. They don't beg. They present opportunity. Because when both sides win, the connection becomes stronger. So stop asking from emotion and start offering from strategy. Advice: tip duquousness famia. When you ask for something, bring value. Think, what's in it for them? Create win-win situations. Because in life, people don't respond to needs, they respond to opportunity. Law 14, pose as a friend, work as an observer. Information is power. The more you understand people, their habits, their patterns, their mindset, the more control you have in any situation. But here's the key. You don't learn by talking, you learn by observing. Most people reveal everything without realizing it, through their actions, through their reactions, through their behavior. And if you are paying attention, you can see everything. Successful individuals don't rush to expose themselves. They listen. They watch, they analyze, they gather information before making moves. Because when you understand the environment, you can navigate it with precision. This is not about being fake. This is about being aware. Because those who move without understanding often move into mistakes.
Advice: tip duquousness family, listen more than you speak. Observe people deeply. Study behavior, not just words. Because the one who understands the game is the one who controls it. Law 15, crush your enemy. Total I-half victories are dangerous. When you leave problems unfinished, they come back stronger. When you leave enemies with power, they return with revenge. This is why decisive action matters. When you commit, you must commit fully. Not emotionally, but strategically. Because hesitation creates risk. Unfinished business creates instability. Now, this doesn't mean destruction in a literal sense. It means eliminating threats completely, solving problems at the root, closing doors fully, ending cycles permanently. Because if you don't, they will come back, stronger, smarter, more prepared. And next time, you might not have control. Advice: tip duquousness family, don't leave things halfway done. Finish what you start completely. Remove obstacles at the root. Because in life, incomplete action creates future problems. Law 16, use absence to increase respect and honor. Presence creates familiarity, but too much presence can create invisibility. When you are always available, always around, always accessible, people start to take you for granted. Your value decreases. Because what is always there feels common, but what is rare feels valuable. Powerful individuals understand the importance of absence. They know when to step back, when to disappear, when to create space. Because absence creates mystery. Mystery creates desire. And desire creates respect. Think about it. The moment you're not always there, people start noticing. They start wondering. They start valuing your presence more. This is not about playing games. This is about controlling perception. Because if you are everywhere, you lose impact. But if you are strategic with your presence, every appearance becomes powerful. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family don't always be available. Create space. Create value through absence. Let people feel your absence so they appreciate your presence. Because in life, scarcity creates respect. Law 17, keep others in suspense, cultivate an air of unpredictability is comfortable. But in the game of power, comfort is weakness. If people can predict your moves, they can control you. They can prepare for you. They can block you. But when you are unpredictable, you become difficult to handle. You create uncertainty, and uncertainty creates hesitation. Powerful individuals don't move randomly, they move strategically unpredictable. They change rhythm, they adapt, they keep people guessing. Because when others don't know what you'll do next, they lose confidence, they hesitate, they make mistakes. And that's where you gain advantage. This is not chaos, this is controlled unpredictability. Because when you control the unknown, you control the game. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family don't be easy to figure out. Switch your approach. Adapt your strategy. Keep people guessing but stay in control. Because in power, the unpredictable player is the dangerous one. Law 18, do not build fortresses. Isolation is danger. Isolation feels safe, but safety can become a trap. When you isolate yourself, you lose connection. You lose information. You lose perspective. You lose opportunities. Because power doesn't grow in isolation, it grows in connection. The world moves through networks, through relationships, through interactions. And if you disconnect, you fall behind. Powerful individuals don't isolate themselves, they position themselves. They stay connected, they stay informed, they stay involved. Because information flows through people, opportunities come through people, growth happens through people. So while isolation might protect you from risk, it also blocks your potential. And in the long run, that's a bigger loss. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family stay connected to the world. Build relationships. Build networks. Don't hide, position yourself intelligently. Because success is built through people, not alone. Law 19, no WHO you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not everyone reacts the same way. Some people forget, others never do. Some people forgive, others wait. That's why understanding people is essential. Because one wrong move with the wrong person can create long-term consequences. Powerful individuals study people before they act. They analyze behavior. They observe reactions. They understand personality. Because when you know who you're dealing with, you know how to move. This is not fear. This is awareness. Because in life, it's not just about what you do, it's about who you do it to. And the difference can change everything. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family read people before you act. Understand personalities and reactions. Move with awareness, not emotion. Because in the game of power, knowing people is as important as knowing strategy.
Law 20, do not commit to anyone, stay independent. Commitment can become limitation. When you attach yourself completely to one side, you lose flexibility. You lose options, you lose control. Because now, your decisions are influenced by loyalty, pressure, expectation. Powerful individuals maintain independence. They don't rush to take sides. They don't limit their perspective. They stay neutral until the right moment. Because independence gives you freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to move, freedom to adapt. This doesn't mean you have no values. It means you don't trap yourself in situations that restrict your growth. Because when you are independent, you control your path. ADVICE tip Duke Wisner's family, stay flexible, stay independent. Don't rush to commit where you don't need to. Keep your options open and your mind clear. Because real power comes from freedom of movement. Law 21, play a sucker to catch a sucker, seem dumber than your target. Not every victory comes from showing intelligence, sometimes it comes from hiding it. People love to feel smarter than others. They trust faster when they feel superior. And if you let them believe that, you gain an advantage. Because the moment someone underestimates you, they lower their guard. They reveal more. They relax. They stop being careful. And that's where awareness becomes power. The strongest individuals don't need to prove they are the smartest in the room. They observe, they listen, they allow others to talk, because information flows when ego feels safe. This is not about pretending to be weak, this is about controlling perception. Because when people think they understand you but they don't, you are in control. Advice: tip duquesnes famia. Don't rush to show how much you know. Let people underestimate you, that's your advantage. Listen more, speak less, and gather information. Because in power, the underestimated player often wins the game. Law 22, use the surrender tactic. Turn weakness into power. Sometimes, resistance makes things worse. Sometimes, fighting every battle costs more than it gives. Powerful individuals understand timing. They know when to push and when to step back. Because surrender, when used correctly, is not weakness. It's strategy. When you step back, you gain time. When you stop resisting, you allow the other side to relax. And in that moment, you reposition. You observe, you prepare, you come back stronger. This is about control, because reacting emotionally puts you in a weak position, but responding strategically puts you in power. Sometimes the best move is not to win immediately, but to win at the right moment. Advice: tip duquesnes famia. Don't fight every battle. Know when to step back and regroup. Turn temporary setbacks into strategic advantages. Because in life, patience can be more powerful than force.
Law 23, concentrate. Your force energy is limited. Time is limited. Focus is everything. Most people fail not because they lack potential, but because they are scattered. Too many ideas, too many distractions, too many directions, and no real progress. Powerful individuals do the opposite. They focus. They concentrate their energy on what matters most. They eliminate distractions. They prioritize with precision. Because when you focus your effort, you multiply your results. Think about it, a scattered light illuminates, but a focused beam cuts through steel. That's the difference. Success requires intensity, not just effort, but directed effort. Because when your focus is sharp, your progress becomes unstoppable. Advice: tip duquesnes familiar. Eliminate distractions. Focus on one main goal and dominate it. Put your energy where it creates the biggest impact. Because in success, focus is your greatest weapon. Law 24, play the perfect courtier in every environment. There are rules, unspoken rules, hidden dynamics, power structures, and those who understand them move differently. The perfect courtier is not fake. They are aware. They understand how to behave in different situations. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They respect the environment, but they don't lose themselves. They adapt without losing identity. Because success is not just about what you know, it's about how you present it, how you communicate, how you carry yourself, how you interact with others. Presence matters. Respect matters. Awareness matters. Because when you understand the environment, you can move through it with power. Advice: tip duquesnes familiar. Study the environment you're in. Adapt your behavior without losing who you are. Carry yourself with confidence and awareness. Because in life, how you move is as important as where you go. Law 25, recreate yourself. You are not fixed. You are not limited. You are not defined by your past. One of the greatest powers you have is the ability to reinvent yourself. Most people stay the same because change is uncomfortable. They hold on to old identities, old habits, old versions of themselves, and that's why they stay stuck. But powerful individuals evolve. They grow. They transform. They decide who they want to become, and they build that version intentionally. Because identity is not something you're given. It's something you create. So if your current version is not where you want to be, change it, upgrade it, rebuild it. Because your future depends on the version of you you choose to become. Advice: tip duquesnes familiar. Don't let your past define your future. Reinvent yourself with intention. Build habits, mindset, and identity aligned with your goals. Because in life, you have the power to become whoever you decide to be.
Law 26, keep your hands clean. In the pursuit of success, not every action looks clean. There are mistakes. There are conflicts. There are difficult decisions. But powerful individuals understand one key principle. Your image must remain strong, no matter what happens behind the scenes. This doesn't mean avoiding responsibility. It means managing perception. Because in the world of influence, people judge what they see. And if your name becomes associated with chaos, drama, or negativity, your power weakens. That's why successful individuals move carefully. They solve problems without creating unnecessary exposure. They protect their reputation while handling situations strategically. They understand that leadership is not just about action. It's about how those actions are perceived. Because once your image is damaged, everything becomes harder. Trust becomes fragile. Respect becomes limited. So move smart. Move clean. Handle what needs to be handled, but protect your name at all costs. Advice: Tip duquousness famia. Protect your image like it's your most valuable asset. Handle problems with intelligence, not emotion. Stay disciplined in your actions and your presentation. Because in life, your reputation is your power. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe. People want to believe. They want meaning. They want direction. They want something to follow. And when you understand that, you understand influence. Powerful individuals don't just present facts, they present vision. They create something bigger than themselves. Something people can connect to. Something people can feel. Because emotion moves people more than logic. When people believe in something, they commit. They support. They follow. This is why leaders inspire. They don't just talk, they make people feel part of something. But here's the key. It must be real. Because false belief eventually collapses. So if you build something, build it with purpose. Build it with truth. Because belief, when it's strong, becomes unstoppable. ADVICE. Tip duquousness famia creates something people can believe in. Speak with purpose, not just information. Connect emotionally, not just logically. Because in influence, belief is stronger than facts alone.
Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation kills opportunity. Doubt kills momentum. Fear kills potential. Most people know what they want to do, but they hesitate. They wait. They overthink. They delay. And by the time they decide, the opportunity is gone. Powerful individuals move differently. They act, not blindly, but boldly. They commit. Because boldness creates energy. It creates momentum. It creates impact. And even if they fail, they learn faster. They grow faster. Because action always moves you forward, while hesitation keeps you stuck. So if you believe in something, move, take the step, make the decision. Because in life, opportunities reward the bold, not the hesitant. Advice: Tip duquousness family. Stop overthinking, start acting. Take calculated risks and move with confidence. Build momentum through action. Because success belongs to those who dare to move. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Starting is easy. Finishing is rare. Most people focus on the beginning. They focus on the idea. They focus on the excitement. But they don't think about the consequences. They don't think about the obstacles. They don't think about the long term. Powerful individuals think differently. They plan ahead. They visualize the entire journey. They prepare for challenges. They anticipate outcomes. Because when you see the full picture, you move with clarity. You avoid unnecessary mistakes. You adapt before problems appear. This is not about controlling everything, it's about being prepared. Because when you plan to the end, you reduce uncertainty. And when uncertainty is reduced, confidence increases. Advice: Tip duquousness family. Think beyond the first step. Plan your moves with the end in mind. Prepare for obstacles before they appear. Because in success, vision creates control. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. True power doesn't look forced. It looks natural. It looks smooth. It looks controlled. Powerful individuals work hard, but they don't show struggle. Because when something looks easy, it creates admiration. It creates curiosity. It creates respect. People start to see you as skilled, as talented, as exceptional. But when you show too much effort, too much struggle, you lose that perception. This doesn't mean you don't work hard. It means you master your craft to the point where it looks effortless. Because excellence, when executed perfectly, feels simple. So focus on improvement, focus on mastery, and let your results speak with elegance. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family. Master your craft until it looks natural. Don't show desperation, show control. Let your results speak with confidence. Because in power, effortless execution creates admiration. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. Power is not always about forcing decisions. Sometimes it's about shaping them. Most people think they are choosing freely, but in reality, they are choosing between options that were already created for them. That's control. Powerful individuals don't just react, they design the situation. They create the options. They frame the choices. They guide the direction without appearing forceful. Because when people feel they are choosing, they resist less. They feel in control while you control the structure. This is not manipulation in a negative sense. This is strategic thinking. Because in life, those who design the game rarely lose it. So instead of trying to force outcomes, learn to guide them. Create paths that led to your goal and let others walk them naturally. Because when you control the options, you control the result. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family. Don't force design. Create options that naturally led to your desired outcome. Guide decisions instead of controlling people directly. Because real power is influence without resistance. Law 32. Play to people's fantasiability is often hard, challenging, uncomfortable, demanding. That's why people are drawn to something else, fantasy. They want hope. They want vision. They want something that feels bigger than their current situation. Powerful individuals understand this. They don't just present facts, they present possibility. They create a vision that people can believe in. Something inspiring, something emotional, something that gives meaning. Because when people connect emotionally, they follow, they engage, they commit. But here's the key, fantasy must be supported by direction. Inspiration without structure leads to disappointment. So create vision, but also create a path. Because when people see both, they trust you. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family. Inspire people with vision. Give them something to believe in, but always back it with real direction. Because influence starts with emotion but grows with structure. Law 33. Discover each person's thumbscrew of eretion has a trigger, something that motivates them, something that influences them, something that drives their decisions. It could be ambition. It could be fear. It could be recognition. It could be validation. Powerful individuals take time to understand this. They study people. They observe behavior. They listen carefully. They analyze patterns. Because when you understand what drives someone, you understand how to communicate with them. This is not manipulation. This is awareness. Because not everyone responds to the same approach. Some respond to logic, others to emotion, others to opportunity. And when you adjust your approach, you increase your effectiveness. Because communication is not about what you say, it's about how it's received. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family. Understand what drives people. Adapt your communication to their mindset. Listen more than you speak. Because in life, those who understand people influence them. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. How you see yourself determines how others see you. If you doubt yourself, others will feel it. If you lower your standards, others will follow. But when you carry yourself with confidence, with presence, with self-respect, people notice. Powerful individuals don't wait for validation. They create it. They walk with purpose. They speak with clarity. They act with intention. Not arrogance, but certainty. Because when you believe in your value, others begin to believe it too. This is not about pretending. This is about becoming. Because the way you show up in the world sets the tone for how the world treats you. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family. Carry yourself with confidence and self-respect. Set high standards for yourself and your environment. Act like the person you want to become. Because in life, your identity shapes your reality. Law 35. Master the art of timing can change everything. The same action at the wrong time fails, but at the right time it wins. Most people focus on what to do, but ignore when to do it. And that's why they struggle. Powerful individuals understand timing. They observe the moment. They read the environment. They wait when necessary. Because not every opportunity is meant to be taken immediately. Some require patience. Some require preparation. Some require the right moment. And when that moment comes, they act decisively, confidently, effectively. Because success is not just about action, it's about perfect timing. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: be patient but ready. Don't rush opportunities that need preparation. Act when the moment is right, because in power, timing can turn effort into success.
Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Not everything in life is meant for you. Not every opportunity will be yours. Not every door will open. Not every situation will go your way. And most people waste their energy reacting. They complain. They chase. They try to force what is not aligned. And in doing so, they lose power. Because attention is energy. And when you give your attention to what you cannot control, you weaken yourself. Powerful individuals move differently. They ignore what doesn't serve them. They don't chase rejection. They don't fight every loss. They don't waste time proving something that doesn't matter. They redirect their focus. Because the best response is not always reaction. Sometimes it's indifference. Because what you ignore loses power over you, and what you focus on grows. So choose carefully. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: stop wasting energy on what you can't control. Redirect your focus toward what builds you. Ignore distractions that don't align with your goals. Because in life, what you focus on defines your future. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. People don't just follow logic, they follow emotion. They remember what they feel more than what they hear. That's why presentation matters. That's why impact matters. Powerful individuals don't just deliver information, they create experiences. They understand visuals. They understand energy. They understand how to capture attention. Because when something feels powerful, it becomes memorable. And when it's memorable, it becomes influential. Think about it, the content that goes viral. The moments that stay in people's minds are not always the most complex, they're the most impactful. So don't just communicate, create presence. Create moments that people feel. Because when you combine message with emotion, you create something unforgettable. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: don't just deliver, create impact. Focus on visuals, energy, and storytelling. Make your message something people feel. Because in influence, emotion creates memory. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. You can think differently. You can believe differently. You can see the world differently. But how you present yourself matters. Because society has patterns, norms, expectations. And if you go against them, without awareness, you create resistance. Powerful individuals understand balance. They think independently, but they move intelligently. They don't need to prove their uniqueness at every moment. They adapt when necessary. They blend when needed. They stand out strategically, because sometimes fitting in gives you the position to stand out later. This is not losing yourself, this is understanding the environment. Because those who resist everything often limit themselves, but those who adapt gain access. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: think independently but move strategically. Adapt to your environment without losing your identity. Choose when to stand out and when to blend in. Because in life, awareness creates opportunity. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish, calm environments, hide opportunities. Sometimes, to reveal the truth, you need movement. You need reaction. Because when things are too calm, people stay guarded. They stay controlled. They stay predictable. But when emotions are triggered, people reveal themselves. They react. They expose patterns. They show their real intentions. Powerful individuals understand this. They don't always create chaos, but they know how to use it. They observe reactions. They analyze behavior under pressure. Because in those moments, you learn the most. But remember, control is key. Chaos without control is destructive. Free things often come with hidden limitations, but what you earn, you respect. So don't look for easy. Look for real. Look for sustainable. Because in the long run, that's what lasts. Advice tip duquousness famia, don't chase shortcuts, build real value. Invest time, effort, and discipline into your growth. Respect the process, not just the result. Because in life, what you earn has more power than what you're given. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great person's shoes. Being second can be harder than being first. When you follow someone great, expectations are already high. Comparisons are automatic. Pressure is constant. And if you try to imitate, you lose. Because you will always be seen as the copy. Powerful individuals understand this. They don't compete with the past. They create their own path. They build their own identity, their own style, their own impact. Because greatness cannot be copied, it must be created. So instead of trying to match someone else, focus on becoming something different. Because the world doesn't need another version of them. It needs the best version of you. Advice, tip duquousness famia. Don't imitate, innovate. Create your own identity and your own path. Focus on originality, not comparison. Because in life, true power comes from being unique. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Every group has a center, a leader, a voice, a point of influence. And when that center is removed, everything changes. Because structure depends on direction. Powerful individuals don't waste energy fighting everything at once. They identify the source. They identify the influence. They focus on what truly matters. Because solving the root solves the problem. This is not about aggression. This is about clarity. Because when you focus your effort in the right place, you create maximum impact. Advice, tip duquousness famia. Identify the root of every problem. Focus your energy where it creates the biggest impact. Don't fight everything, solve what matters most. Because in strategy, precision beats force. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Control is temporary, but influence lasts. You can force action, but you cannot force loyalty. You can demand results, but you cannot demand belief. That's why powerful individuals focus on connection. They understand people. They communicate with emotion. They build trust. They create meaning. Because when people believe in you, they follow willingly. Not because they have to, but because they want to. And that's real power. Advice, tip duquousness famia. Build connection, not just control. Understand people emotionally, not just logically. Create trust through authenticity. Because in life, influence is stronger than authority. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. People react to themselves. When you mirror behavior, you reveal truth. You show patterns. You expose attitudes. You reflect energy. And sometimes that creates awareness. Other times it creates discomfort. But in both cases, it creates reaction. Powerful individuals use this carefully. They don't react emotionally, they respond strategically. Because when you reflect behavior, you gain insight. And insight creates control.
Advice tip duquousness family are observe behavior and respond with awareness. Use reflection to understand situations deeply. Stay calm while others react. Because in power, awareness creates advantage. Law 45. Preach the need for change but never reform. Too much at one change is necessary. But too much change creates resistance. People are comfortable with what they know. And when you try to change everything at once, they push back. Powerful individuals understand pacing. They introduce change gradually. They guide adaptation. They build acceptance over time. Because when change feels natural, it is accepted. But when it feels forced, it is rejected. Advice tip duquousness family introduce change step by step. Be patient with transformation. Guide, don't force. Because in life, progress is built through consistency, not pressure. Law 46. Never appear to perfect. Perfection can create distance. It can create envy. It can create pressure. It can create disconnection. Because people relate to authenticity, not perfection. Powerful individuals understand balance. They show strength, but they remain human. They demonstrate confidence, but they stay relatable. Because when people connect with you, they trust you. And trust is more valuable than perfection. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: be strong but stay real. Allow people to see your humanity. Connect through authenticity. Because in influence, relatability builds trust. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. Know when to stop. Success can become dangerous. When you win, you want more success, more growth, more achievement. But sometimes going too far creates problems: overextension, overconfidence, loss of control. Powerful individuals know when to stop. They know when enough is enough. They know when to secure the win. Because discipline is not just about action, it's about knowing when to pause. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: don't let success blind you. Know when to secure your progress. Control ambition with discipline. Because in life, balance protects success. Law 48, assume formlessness. To final level of power is adaptability. Rigid structures break, fixed mindsets fail, but flexibility survives. Powerful individuals are not limited. They adapt, they evolve, they adjust to any situation. Because when you are flexible, you cannot be controlled. You cannot be predicted. You cannot be stopped easily. You flow with the environment while staying in control. That's true power. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: stay adaptable. Stay flexible. Don't lock yourself into one way of thinking. Evolve with every situation. Because in life, those who adapt dominate. Law 49, master yourself before you try to master the world. Averian wants control. Control of money, control of opportunities, control of outcomes. But almost nobody has control over themselves. They react emotionally. They lose focus. They get distracted. They quit when things get hard. And then they wonder why success feels so far away. Here's the truth: if you can't control your mind, you will never control your life. Power doesn't start outside, it starts within. Discipline is power. Focus is power. Emotional control is power. Because the moment you master your reactions, you stop being controlled by situations. You stop being controlled by people. You stop being controlled by fear. And you start moving with intention. Powerful individuals don't wait to feel ready. They act with discipline. They stay consistent. They control their habits daily. Because success is not built in one moment, it's built in what you do every single day. So before you try to dominate the world, ask yourself, can you wake up when you don't feel like it? Can you stay focused when distractions appear? Can you keep going when results are slow? Because if the answer is yes, you're already ahead of most people. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: control your habits. Control your emotions. Control your focus every single day. Because in life, the one who masters himself becomes unstoppable. Law 50, build a legacy, not just success. Is temporary. You can win today and lose tomorrow. You can build something and watch it disappear. But legacy is different. Legacy is what remains after you're gone. Most people chase fast results, money, views, attention, and there's nothing wrong with that. But powerful individuals think bigger. They think long-term. They ask, what am I building? What impact am I creating? What will people remember about me? Because real power is not just about winning, it's about meaning. It's about influence. It's about impact. It's about leaving something behind that matters. And here's the key: legacy is built daily. In your discipline, in your consistency, in how you treat people, in what you create. Every action is a brick. Every decision is a direction. So don't just chase success, build something that lasts. Build something real. Build something that represents you. Because at the end of the day, people won't remember how fast you won, they'll remember what you stood for. Advice tip Duke Wisner's family: think long-term, not just short-term wins. Build something meaningful, not just profitable. Create impact that goes beyond you. Because in life, success fades, but legacy stays. You've learned the laws, you've understood the mindset. Now it's your turn. Because knowledge without action changes nothing. This is not just information, this is transformation. So take what you've learned, apply it, live it, build with it. And remember, Power is not given, it is built. Success is not luck, it is discipline, and your future is created by what you do next. Duke Wisner's family are the home of true winners. Thanks you for watching.